We continue on Daybreak Live on a busy Thursday morning. We're joined this morning by District 3 Sylacauga City Councilman Nate Boom Boom Brewer. Nate, good morning, man.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
City Council meeting is when?
City Council meeting tonight at 4:30. We have a lot on the agenda we have to discuss. So
there's a lot on the table at City Hall. What's going on down there, man?
Well, here's the deal, JD. All of it is administrative. Every bit of it is with the mayor. Okay, the mayor handles everything going on in City Hall. You know, you hear things that City Hall's a mess or City Hall's in an uproar. The mayor controls those things. Like, for instance, people call us about people take-home cars and they see vehicles everywhere. The mayor authorizes those people in those vehicles to take those cars home. That's his responsibility. The legal municipality says that lies within the mayor's
So it's the mayor's fault, all this stuff down there?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you where all this lies. As everyone knows, it's been on, you had the mayor on this week and you're talking about the city clerk.
Oh, by the way, Miss Linda, thank you. This won't last long here.
Come from Booker's, right?
That's right. That's Booker's on Norton Avenue.
People.
That's right.
The mayor has relieved the city clerk, which I still don't think it's in his wheelhouse to do. I know he made a comment that, because I put something in the paper as the reporter asked, that I think that lies within the council. And the code that I've read by the state of Alabama, 11-43160, says that whoever appoints the city clerk removes the city clerk by a 2/3 vote. Well, Mayor James Heigl did not appoint the clerk, although she does report to him because he's over day-to-day operations. I think Mr. Mayor's got some bad advice from an attorney somewhere. There's been something misinterpreted. James Heigl's the finest man you'll ever meet. I just think there's someone on his team that has went down a wrong road and they haven't followed all the proper channels that need to be followed when it comes to the city clerk. For instance, he quoted a code 11-5281 on the show. Well, that code has to do with adjustments and appeals. That has nothing to do with the city clerk. And the attorney that they have hired to help with this is an employment attorney by the name of Robbie Hyde. Well, I don't know if she's the right one to help him because she cost the city $200,000 last year in a lawsuit when she tried to.
Hey, my friend, it cost me $200,000.
You know, so I don't know, and he's not had much conversation with us because he thinks this is in his wheelhouse. This is his employee, but at the end of the day, it is, but it's not because the city council appointed Miss Alex.
So I've asked this question to several people within City Hall. Why did this happen?
This is my personal opinion. Back in November, there was
some. We're talking about the city clerk.
Yes.
Okay.
Back in November, there were some employees that had been doing planning commission things. They walk in the mayor's offices, we've not been getting compensated for this, we're not doing it anymore. Okay, fair enough. Reason I know this because me and the mayor had breakfast that Sunday. No big deal. I said, what are you going to do, Mayor Heigl? He says, I got it under control. That's in my territory. Yes, sir. Well, then they give it to the city clerk, Alex. They want Alex to do some of the duties. Well, Miss Alex argued the point because she doesn't know anything about the planning commission. She's not been through the schooling and the training that everyone else has. Okay, so she filed a grievance saying, hey guys, I don't feel comfortable with this. This isn't right. Well, next thing you know, we hear that, we're on administrative leave, and now we've got a hearing today at 9 o'clock on those grievances. Her termination will not be heard today per Robert Rumsey and the Civil Service Board.
Why not?
Because it's not on the agenda. On the agenda is her grievance. It never was on the agenda for her termination to be heard. That's how we get confusing stories. Nobody's looking at the facts and nobody's talking to the right people and checking their emails and seeing what's going on.
So all this time, people are thinking that today is D-Day.
Today is not D-Day. Unless the Civil Service Board changes their mind when we get there, and I doubt they will because they're professionals. They have an advisor. They did not send that out on their agenda, what would be discussed today. Only thing that's going to be discussed today, there's a couple of employees that have filed grievances, and the Civil Service Board would hear those grievances and determine if they're valid grievances or not.
So,
And Ms. Lambert is one of those that has filed a grievance.
so where does that leave us as far as that position at City Hall?
Well, what it did, the mayor appointed his secretary, Cassie, okay? He appointed her as the city clerk, which was in his wheelhouse. Well, but that didn't do the city any good. It was done backwards, and here's the reason why. Because the council is responsible for the finances. She couldn't sign any checks. She couldn't do day-to-day operations as the treasurer or anything. So we didn't find out that he had terminated Miss Lambert until the day before. As everyone knows, we had a special called emergency meeting. We had to appoint a city clerk and a treasurer, and we had to remove Miss Lambert off the checking accounts because she's not an employee right now, and add someone else because you need 2 signatures to sign checks. It passed a 4-1. Why the 1, I don't know. None of my business. We all have to vote our conscience, but we had to remove Miss Lambert off the checking accounts because she was a terminated employee. And I say that to give an example. Jimmy Dale, if we had not removed her, she could have went to the bank and drew any amount of money out because she's the clerk and she only needs 1 signature on some of those accounts.
A lot of people in this city are just shaking their head.
I agree. Jimmy Dale, I shake my head every day. I can't fix what's going on at City Hall. No council member can fix what's going on at City Hall. We believe sometimes that the inmates are running the prison.
I've heard that before.
You know, that's what we believe. You've got a couple upstairs in the mayor's office that's been there a long time, and they get to rocking and rolling and pulling laws here. We can do this, we can do that. Instead, everybody just doing their job and go to the house. People at City Hall tend to forget. You have a job to do just like I do. People at City Hall serve this community just like I do. Everybody has a job to serve this community and to make it a better place to live. Sometimes we get away from that. You've had mayoral candidates say, clean house, clean the council, clean City Hall. Well, what do they know? They're not in our shoes every day. They don't see and deal what we deal with every day. So, I mean, and I'm a firm believer, once we get this worked out, once the Civil Service Board says what you need to do because they protect employees, I'm sure we'll come to a good understanding and we'll get back on the right road. Here's what I hate, Jimmy Dale. My hometown that I love and that I'm from, and half these people causing these issues are not from here, didn't graduate here, has taken away from a lot of the good things we have going on in our town. We've got a lot of good going on, Jimmy Dale. You've got earth going on. You've got an indoor swimming pool that's going to cost a lot of money that I didn't vote for, but it's still coming. Kids fixing to have a place to swim. You've got pickleball courts and basketball courts going up. We've got paving that's fixing to start. You've got a lot going on. Don't be distracted by all the bad.
You seem to be agitated.
I'm agitated, Jimmy Dale, because I love this place. This is my home. Half these people are just passing through, or half these people come in, got a job waiting on retirement. The rest of us are going to be here. I never planned in all my life to leave Sylacauga. This is my home, and I want it to be the best city in the state of Alabama. They tell me the same thing at the League of Municipalities. Nate, we've never seen someone so aggressive and so want their city to prosper like you do. I do get a little worked up when I get agitated because it's an embarrassment, Jimmy Dale. Things going on now is an embarrassment that City Hall can't run the way it's supposed to run. Then there's certain things, the council's not over. There's certain things we can't do. You've got a city attorney that has been talking to the mayor. You've got other attorneys been talking to the mayor. And it's like Mayor Heigl said, he told me, in the paper, I'm the one that put the quote, I don't think he has the authority to do it. Well, Mayor, I've read this, and I've had 2 attorneys that's out of the city that have nothing to do with us read it, and they tell me I'm reading it the right way. So before I started running off at the mouth, I made sure I was right. So, but we're going to get it all ironed out. It's going to be fine. The Civil Service Board will tell us which way we need to go. Either they'll hear the grievance of her termination, or they'll kick it back to us. One of the 2 is going to happen. That's where we stand at with this. So, and there's no, and then we'll be in the chamber, there's no, and we'd like to meet there because there's no audio in the council chambers. Because you have executive sessions and court hearings, there's no audio in the chambers. I think that might be a misprint in the paper or something, but I know for a fact there's no audio because it's been checked into.
Yeah. There were some things that have been, there's been some things that have been said, whether right or wrong, that has been pointed at a lot of city councilmen, including yourself. Address that this morning.
Well, here's the thing, Jimmy Dale. I told you, my life's an open book. I've never done, you can go down there and you can pull every police report on Nate Brewer, you're not going to find any, okay? I was in high school. I graduated high school with a diploma. I just graduated from the League of Municipalities. People's going to talk, Jimmy Dale. People rather tell the truth, tell a lie when the truth would fit better, especially if you have some competition, especially if you're not doing things that they think you ought to do. People will just pull things off the wall. I know this. I've never stole any money. I've always tried to help my people. I've always went above and beyond. I love my city. I will continue to help my people. I can lay my head down at night knowing I've done a good job every day. Now, there's some family members and there's some people that's probably went off the wall, ain't got nothing to do with Nate. You can't control other human beings. All you can do is control you and control how you react. That's all you can do, Jimmy Dale. I don't know what else to say. And I know they had the long Facebook post. I did live with my mom. I did, guys, that is the God's honest truth. I went and stayed with my mom because she was sick. She lived right over there on Walnut. I stayed from May until July till I had to go back to school. That's the gospel, Jimmy Dale. I stayed with her because she's mine and she's my responsibility and I love her. So if that's makes me a bad councilman, then I'm sorry, but that's true. So, and I'm sure there's some other things true in that long Facebook post that others wrote. You can't believe everything on Facebook. People say things on Facebook they won't say when they're looking at me and you.
That's why it's anonymous, right?
Absolutely. And if you ain't going to sign your name to it, I can't help you. I can't address your concerns if you ain't going to sign your name to something. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So, but here's the deal. Sylacauga always rises and goes above and beyond. We'll get out of this. This ain't going to take long, and we're going to get back to operate the way we're supposed to operate. I'm a firm believer in that, guys.
Well, it is election year,
yes, sir.
And there's a lot of things being said, a lot of people talking this, that, and the other. Elections in August, you're going to have some of that stuff. But some of these things that are being said goes far beyond an election. When you're taking pot shots at whomever it is, that's just not a good thing to do.
Especially if it's not true. Jimmy Dale, I don't care what anybody says about me as long as it's the truth. And as long as you can back it up. Because my life's an open book. I have nothing to hide. When you jump in the political ring, all that comes uncovered anyway. So now look, we are in Sylacauga, Alabama. This doesn't have to be like you see in Washington and other big cities. This is a small municipality of about 12,235 people, okay? There ain't but about 1,600 people that vote, so I encourage every one of you to vote. What's going on right now is called chaos, but it's chaos from people that are not from Sylacauga. That's what people's got. They don't know how we operate. They don't know how we bond together. We have to stay together and rise above to make us go. Because it takes a village. You remember last year I told you it takes a village to do anything. Well, we need our village to come together. Those people on Facebook that was running off at the head, make them show the proof. And then if it's the proof, let's address it. I don't follow much of the trash on Facebook. I do have a Facebook account. I post certain things. I don't read into what people think or what people do. If you're going to ask a question, I'm all about it. But when you start assuming and don't know all the facts, that's when it tends to get a little hairy. So that's all I got to say about Facebook.
We got just a couple more minutes to go. Appreciate you coming by. This is the last freebie you get, by the way.
I dropped the check off this morning.
You saw the interview with Mayor Heigl.
Yes, sir.
That we did last week. Your thoughts on that? Was there anything pointed toward you in that interview?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I made a quote in the Daily Home saying that I didn't think Mayor Heigl had the authority to fire the city clerk,
Right.
and then he made the comment that he needs to go read the code or have someone read it to him. Well, I read the code. I don't need anybody to read it to me. I've had other people read the code, and I've had 2 attorneys read it that's not even affiliated in Sylacauga. They're actually in Rockford, Alabama. Mm-hmm. So if I'm wrong, they're wrong. And I see his point. Well, if he's wrong, then the attorney he's listening to is wrong. So we're going to find out the next week or so who's wrong. And if I'm wrong, I apologize right now. I have no problem saying I apologize if I'm wrong. But guys, it's in black and white. 11-43-160 in the Code of Alabama says the appointing authority has the right to fire the city clerk by a 2/3 vote.
Which is the city council.
Which is the city council. The city council appoints the clerk. But here's what people don't understand. The reason they appoint the clerk is they deal with finances. Who's over the finances of the city? The city council.
Why didn't y'all stop it if y'all
We didn't know what was going on, preacher. We didn't have a clue. HR, Mayor Heigl, his assistant, apparently, I don't know if his assistant was involved, but HR and Mayor Heigl got all this together. I didn't know. I knew she was on leave. We had no idea she was fired. That's why we had to have an emergency meeting, because he fired her and told her she couldn't come back to the building. What do you do? And it's all backwards. The city attorney is sitting there reading, going through things. He's up and down, don't know what he can, what he can't do, how it goes, how it don't go. So that's how it ended up at the Civil Service Board. The Civil Service Board will break out the rules. They'll use the same codes I'm using, and I'm pretty sure with the DA for over 30 years, he probably knows a little more than all of us does. He'll probably figure it out and find out what's the best thing to do. Because right now you have taken a lady's job, and you have put her out the door, and it's possible you've done it the wrong way, and it's possible you've got a lawsuit against the city. So whose fault's that, Jimmy Dale? Is it the attorney, the mayor, and HR's fault? Is it the mayor's fault? You see what I'm saying? Mayor Heigl is the finest man you'll ever meet in Sylacauga. Mayor Heigl loves this town bigger and better than anybody I know. I think Mayor Heigl's gotten some bad advice. Now, that's my personal opinion.
Nate Brewer.
But Jimmy Dale, we're going to find out about it. In a week or so, I look for us to know 2 weeks, I look for us to know where we are with that.
So just to update people, this city council meeting today.
Yes, sir.
Explain what's going to be happening there, and with the city clerk was supposed to meet today with Civil Service Board. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Here's what we got. At 9 o'clock, you've got a hearing with the Civil Service Board. The hearing is Miss Lambert, the city clerk.
Okay.
And there's some others that have, Jane McGee and some others that have filed a grievance against somebody or something. So the Civil Service Board has to hear that. The council meeting is going to happen at 4:30 today, because we've got to do the first month's of business, and we've got to do this month's business, okay? So because we didn't meet last time because the public hearing got advertised wrong, okay? And nobody was checking Alex's emails because the mayor's office didn't give anybody access to it, so nobody knew the public hearing was wrong. So they've done all this, and there's people that's trying to contact the city clerk. They can't get in touch with her. That's like our 5311 program for all of our transportation vans. They've been trying to get in touch with her for 2 weeks. Nobody's checking the city clerk's emails or forwarding them to anyone to let them check. And guys, that has nothing to do with the city council.
Whose responsibility is that?
That's the mayor's office. He's over day-to-day operations. Okay. Him and HR. HR's not over day-to-day operations, but she sure does work with him a lot.
So, the Civil Service Board meeting today, did you say that action was not going to happen today?
The termination request.
And that's what that was about, right?
That is not going to be there.
Okay.
The grievance that was filed about her having to do the planning commission duties and not knowing anything about it, she didn't think she could do a good job because she don't know anything about it. That's going to be heard today.
Okay.
The Civil Service Board will rule on that and get the codes out. I'm sure there's certain codes for that too. Get the codes out and go from there and see what we got. So because that, if those grievances are thrown out, then how'd you terminate her? Am I making sense?
Well, you know, a lot of people in Sylacauga that are voters, they'll determine.
That's right.
Coming up in August.
That's right.
Who they believe and who they think can lead us forward. But I think all of us can agree this morning that we've got a tangle web.
Well, you've got all this right here, Jimmy. The council's clicking on all 4 cylinders, or 8 cylinders rather, 5 cylinders, how many you want to call it.
We all had issues prior to this.
We do have issues, but we work through our issues and move on. What you got now is administrative issues. Administrative issues are not lied at the council's feet. There's nothing we can do about it. We can meet with the mayor. We can meet with so-and-so. We can try to come to an understanding, but at the end of the day, whatever the administration office, which is the mayor's office, wants to do, that's what they get to do. He has that power. That's why the people elected him to be the mayor, so he can have that power and make those decisions for all of us.
Interesting. Appreciate you coming by this morning.
Good to see you. Thank you, sir.
All right, we got more Daybreak just ahead. Don't go away.
Bye-bye.